The other day, I was doing a Facebook Live talking about brand identity, and branding with my friend Carolina Guzik from Carolina Guzik Photography and the Tog Republic. And during that conversation, we had someone ask the question of how to evolve your brand while also staying consistent. And, that is such a great question, one that I'm going to answer today because I get tons of clients who ask the same exact thing. So stick around. Building your brand can certainly take a lot of work. You need to identify who you're talking to, why you're talking to them, and then, of course, define your core values, your vision, your mission, your purpose, all of these things to really bring a brand to life. And, of course, if you're just getting started, you may not try to lay out that foundation because you're still trying to figure it out. Totally makes sense. But what happens when you are trying to evolve and grow your business because now you're maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road and things aren't quite aligning the way that they used to when you were first starting off, and you're realizing that there's a disconnect with your brand and with your audience and you want to make that change? Well, I'm sharing 3 ways that I think you can evolve your brand and evolve your business while staying true to who you are, staying true to that brand that you originally built, but of course allowing that flexibility to change and shift as needed, because we're a business, we're as people, individuals, all of these things, we change and evolve every single day. There's new seasons, there's new growth, and our business has the same exact thing. We go through different seasons, different growth periods where we realize that the things that we were offering 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago is no longer relevant to what we're offering today. So how do you maintain that consistency? Here are 3 tips to help you navigate this kind of challenging time as you try to evolve and grow your business. Number 1 is knowing your foundation. And I know that this seems kind of silly, like, duh, Cyan, I already know this, but I'm going to reiterate it because it's so important to make sure that as you evolve and you grow, your foundation is truly staying the same. And what I mean by that is when you're identifying your brand elements, you really want to take time to sit down and think through your core values, your mission, your vision, your purpose, your why, all of those things. Because I'm going to use this as an example. If your value or your mission is to help women live a healthy lifestyle and achieve that healthy lifestyle that they're looking for, you may have been a one-on-one personal fitness and nutrition coach. But over time, you may decide that, you want the freedom to be able to work whenever and wherever you want. So then you can kind of shift and change the offerings that you have and evolve your business by starting to add in maybe like a downloadable cookbook all about healthy and nutritious recipes, right, that you can sell. You could change it to work with an MLM, oh my goodness, I totally forgot what an MLM stands for. A multi-level marketing company like a Beauty Counter or Arborn or something along those lines that totally aligns with living a healthy lifestyle, but allows you the flexibility to kind of grow your business online and not just in one geographic location. It may even change and evolve so that way you're offering courses to help women achieve that healthy lifestyle through nutrition and fitness, but from an online standpoint. So those are ways that your business can evolve, but really stay true to the core values of your company, which is to serve women well so that way they can live a healthy lifestyle, right? So that business, that example that I just provided is something that has evolved and shifted, especially with the different technology and the different things that we can now use today, whereas, a couple of years ago, that wasn't really a thing. So as time and technology and marketing tactics change, your business can evolve with it, but that brand, while it's evolving, is staying consistent and true to what the brand was always set out to do, which is to serve women well, to live a healthy lifestyle. So really identifying those foundational elements so that way no matter what you decide to add on or take off of your servicing or products, aligns with that brand that you've created. The other piece that I think is really important, tip number 2, is that you want to make sure that you don't stop showing up. So a lot of times what happens when clients come to me and they realize that there's a disconnect in their branding and they're like, okay, you know what, I'm ready to shed the brand identity that I had previously because that's just no longer working for me. It doesn't align with the target audience that I'm trying to attract and all of these things. they decide that they want to stop showing up. And what I mean by that is like they don't want to be on Instagram posting the way that they were before because they're so ready to shed and kind of evolve into the next phase of their brand. And while I totally understand that, and it is so hard to be in that weird limbo of like, you know that you're ready to shed and you're ready for the next phase, but you don't quite have it figured out yet because you haven't defined all of those brand elements, you still need to show up. People will notice if you stop showing up on a regular basis, if you just go radio silent. And sometimes it even, you'll notice that your audience will be like, hey, is everything okay? Are you all right? Are you still in business? And the problem with going radio silent and doing that, especially if your audience notices, you're creating doubt. You're creating doubt in whether or not they can trust you, in whether or not you're still around as a business owner. And that lowers that trust factor that you're working so hard to build, right? Because we know that people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. So all of that time that you're spending building up that trust factor, as soon as you stop showing up on whatever platform you're using, your audience notices and they take note of that. And then it creates that level of doubt and insecurity of, well, I don't know if I want to do business with this person because they were really active a while ago and now they've gone completely silent. So if you are going through an evolution and your brand is, you're working behind the scenes to make that happen, don't just stop showing up, don't just stop doing what you were doing, because you need to make sure that you're at least showing up over and over again. And then work on a plan to launch that new brand direction or make micro changes. You realize that things aren't working, change and start to shift your messaging slowly so that way it doesn't feel like it's such a disconnect from what you're wanting to move forward with. But make those micro changes so that way you're not having to feel like you're playing in, the old realm of what you don't want to be known for or what you want your brand to represent anymore, and really focus on shifting towards the new. But remember, your brand is about how you make people feel. It's that experience. So make sure that you're showing up because you don't want people to feel like they can't trust you. And then tip number 3 for evolving your brand, but of course staying consistent, is avoid changing too frequently. So I see this a lot when people don't really know who they're talking to or why their business exists. And they're doing this because they are chasing after what they see the next person on Instagram doing. They're like, oh, well, so-and-so over here who does the same thing that I do is doing this, and she just added this in, and she just added this in, so I need to do that too. And that may work for her and her audience, but it may not work for you, or it may not align with your mission. Her mission is probably different than yours. So really having that as your guiding principle, your core values, your mission, your vision, your why, is going to allow you to have that consistent brand no matter how you change your visual identity, no matter how you change your service, products, or offerings. But making sure that you don't change it too frequently, because changing it too frequently, once again, creates doubt, lowers that trust factor, and ultimately can hurt your brand, because if you're not consistent in your brand message and in your brand visual identity, people can't trust you, right? Like they're just like, oh, well, she's inconsistent. She doesn't know what she wants. She doesn't know who she's talking to. She's offered this service or offering this week, and then next week it's something different. So when you change it too frequently in a short period of time, you create those types of feelings of, your potential audience or your potential client. They create some sort of doubt and insecurity with trusting you. So if you are going to make changes to your brand, make micro changes. I change my stuff all the time. It's normal to evolve and to want to shift and to, kind of revamp your branding, because as things shift, as things change, and as you listen to your audience, you're able to hear what they need and what they don't need. So lean into that. Make little micro changes that allow you to better align with your audience, that better allow you to align and communicate your brand and the emotions that you want to convey at the end of the day. So I hope you found these 3 tips really helpful. Once again, if you are trying to evolve your brand and evolve your business, but stay consistent, remember these 3 things. You need a solid foundation. You need to know who you're talking to, why you're talking to them, why you do, what your mission, core values, and all of that stuff really is. So that way that can be your guiding principle. Number 2, don't stop showing up. You want to make sure that you are consistently showing up even as you're working through this transition process, because if you go radio silent, people will take notice, and it will create doubt and fear and make them question whether or not they should really do business with you, which of course you don't want. And then number 3 is don't change it too frequently. Focus on micro changes if you feel like something isn't aligning from your visual identity standpoint, but make sure that you're not doing it too frequently. Allow that time for it to really become part of your brand. See how well it resonates, understand the feedback, and of course, if you have to pivot, but make sure that you're not changing it up too frequently, because once again, that creates doubt in your audience and in your potential customers' eyes. So I hope that you guys found these tips helpful. I will be popping in every week with new video content all about marketing, branding, and website design. If you found this video wonderful, please make sure that you like it, share it with a friend, and of course, subscribe. I'll see you next week.